So what happens when your business is growing, which is great, but your spreadsheets just can't keep up? Well, for Azani ISP, an internet provider basically drowning in paperwork, the answer was complete chaos. But they found this amazing solution in a tool that you might think is kind of boring: a simple, well-designed database. This is the story of how they went from total chaos to just a few clicks.
And just look at these results. I mean, they're staggering. Before this change, their monthly billing took 4 entire days of manual, painful work. Afterwards, they got it done in 2 hours. 2 hours. This isn't just a small improvement, it's a total game changer. So, let's break down how they pulled this off.
Okay, first, to really appreciate the solution, you have to understand the problem. And it was a big one. Before the new system, life at Azani ISP was what we're calling the spreadsheet nightmare. And honestly, that's not an exaggeration. It was this tangled web of manual tasks that was dragging the whole company down.
Okay, so picture this. The sales team has their own spreadsheet, right? But so does the accounts department, and so does the tech team. The same customer information was copied in all these different places, and half the time it didn't even match. This, of course, led to constant, frustrating billing mistakes. And that means unhappy customers calling to complain. On top of that, they couldn't easily track who paid, manage their equipment, or even apply discounts the same way every time. And if a manager asked for a simple report, forget it. That was a multi-day project of cutting and pasting.
And this quote from the staff, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? The very tools that were supposed to be helping them were actually getting in the way. People were just stuck fighting spreadsheets all day long instead of doing the one thing that really mattered: taking care of their customers.
So, a mess this big needed a really clear plan. Azani knew they couldn't just buy some new software and hope for the best. No, they needed a proper blueprint for order. They sat down and laid out some very specific goals for what this new system absolutely had to do.
And their objectives were crystal clear. Number 1, get one single central place for all customer information, a single source of truth. They needed to automate that awful billing process, track everything perfectly, and get reports instantly, not in a few days. But you know, all of this really boiled down to one main goal: fix the data so you can finally fix the customer service.
So, what was the big solution? It was a relational database. Now, I know, that sounds super technical and maybe a little boring, but trust me, the idea behind it is actually incredibly simple and, well, kind of beautiful. This was going to be the digital brain that finally brought order to all that chaos.
Seriously, forget all the code and servers for a second. The absolute best way to think about a relational database is like a perfectly organized digital filing cabinet. You've got one drawer just for customers, another neat drawer for subscriptions, and a third one for invoices. And here's the magic part: everything is linked together. So when you pull out a customer's file, it automatically points you to all their subscriptions and every invoice they've ever had. No more digging through 3 different messy piles of paper. It's all connected.
And this is basically what that filing cabinet looked like on the inside. The database had these different tables, or you can think of them as our drawers, for each kind of info. The institutions table was just the master list of all their customers. The subscriptions table connected each of those customers to the specific internet package they had. And then the invoices table used all that linked info to automatically create the bills. So simple, so clean, and everything is connected.
Okay, now for the really satisfying part. Let's see how this all came together in the most dramatic before and after of all, that monthly billing process. This is where that new digital brain really got to show off, turning days of chaos into just a few simple clicks.
Right? This was the old way. A 4-day marathon, every single month. On day 1, someone had to just try and pull all the correct information from those different spreadsheets. Day 2, they'd sit there and calculate every single bill by hand. On day 3, someone else had to manually type up more than 200 separate invoices, and then the final day was spent printing them all out, checking for mistakes, and finally getting them sent. It was exhausting, it was inefficient, and it was just begging for errors to happen.
Now, look at the new process. It's not a marathon, it's a 2-hour sprint. The system automatically finds every active subscription, calculates the correct fee, and then boom, generates every single invoice with one click of a button. The staff went from being data entry clerks to just overseeing the process. All they had to do was push a button. It's an amazing difference. So, was all this work worth it in the end? Oh yeah. The payoff wasn't just about making the staff happier. It had a huge, measurable impact on the entire business. The numbers here are pretty incredible. Let's start with time. Just by automating that one billing process, Azani saved 46 workdays a year. That's almost 2 full months of an employee's time that they got back.
Time they can now spend on, growing the business and actually talking to customers.
And the financial impact?
Even bigger. The new system saved them over 700,000 Kenyan shillings every year. And that money came from two key places. First, it stopped all those little billing errors that were leaking revenue. And second, because tracking was so much better, they actually improved their payment collection rate by 15%.
And here is the absolute kicker. The whole system, building it, implementing it, cost about 110,000 shillings. With benefits of over 700,000 shillings a year, this system paid for itself in less than 2 months. I mean, that is an absolutely unbelievable return on investment.
The story of Azani ISP really shows that moving from chaos to clicks isn't just about buying fancy technology. It's about having a clear vision to solve a real, painful problem. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the spreadsheet nightmare in your world that's just waiting for a smarter solution?